Hey everyone, welcome to Dawn of Titans with DBR, and today's a special edition because we are talking about damage and how damage is calculated in the game. It may sound dry to some of you, but I think all of you are interested in this because, if anything, most people, it seems, have thrown their hat away on this as far as thinking about it and said, you know, the numbers in the game don't make sense to me, so I don't know how much damage people are going to do even though I see the stats. And that's how they approach the game. No. No. You can know exactly what's going on with the damage numbers, at least roughly. And so I'm not going to give you exact, math here, nothing like that, but I'm going to give you the principle so you can understand that when you look at your units and how they upgrade their damage, you're not confused as to what that actually means. And you're not staring at a battle like, why did he hit for 24,000? I don't understand why he hit for 1,000. It doesn't make any sense to me. If anything, that's why people were kind of underwhelmed by archers, and they should not be. And hopefully by now, after these updates, you guys are now appreciating archers for what they really are. Fast, better damagers than Grenadiers as ranged units. But here we go. Are you guys ready? Put on your thinking caps. By the way, a big shout out here to a player who originally kind of really opened my eyes to the full spectrum of this. I had an idea of it, but not nearly as much as what he told me. So thank you to R8, the player. Letter R, number 8, really opened my eyes to the full spectrum here. You're going to get a lot of what he taught me just from his own testing experience before I was able to go through that testing myself. Some of it I knew, but some of it I did not. So I'm going to start off with one of the best things he showed me as far as the ranged units, because it makes more sense with ranged units than anything, because ranged units, unlike your Titan, have one type of attack. There's not separate attacks they do. They just do one thing, right? They either show arrows or they're shooting fire. That's it. So here we go. We got on the screen, thanks to Yuki's website. It's very easy to show here. And I'll show you also in combat how this is working. But we've got our archers here. Now, mine are level 14. Okay? So I'm just going to keep it all copacetic here, all on par with what is level 14. So level 14 archers have an attack of 432. Now, as everyone knows, you never see 432 damage. What does that mean? In fact, usually it's over 1,000, right? What does that mean? Well, check it out. Rate of fire is 2.5 seconds, okay? So what that means is the attack is damage per second. Now, this is what floors me. People don't put this together on their own. DPS means damage per second. Now, your archers aren't rolling around just doing magical damage per second. They have to shoot arrows and actually hit the target. The damage is not calculated if they miss, right, from a zigzagging target, and the damage is not calculated if the unit's already dead. So what does this mean? It means that their DPS is calculated when they hit, and the DPS is calculated per their rate of fire. Okay, so their rate of fire is 2.5 seconds to draw and loose their arrows. 2.5 seconds. Their damage per second is 432. Okay, so here we go. We're going to use our trusty dusty calculator. 432 times 2.5 is 1,080. So your archers per an attack is 1,080. Mind blown yet? Or were you like, yeah, I know. Okay, so that's it, right? That's as simple as that. Their rate of fire is 2.5 seconds. They're going to shoot at 1,080 per shot. Now, what's interesting about the DPS is if your archers are just standing around, or if they're caught in some sort of weird AI thing where they're trying to figure out where to shoot, their damage doesn't go beyond 2.5. That's their max. It's their draw and fire. That's their DPS calculation. So they're always going to attack at 1,080, and they have armor penetration of 40%. So I do a demonstration here. We'll take a look at it. Of where I'm attacking Goliaths. And what you're going to see is, as they attack Goliaths, the DPS is calculated with this particular formula, 2.5 seconds. And since the Goliaths have 40% armor and it's wiped out, it doesn't get changed by their armor. So I set up this battle where I literally had, one archer unit off to the right shooting the Goliaths. Now, I don't know why it's 1,079. I'm assuming there's some sort of tidbit there that changed it by one. I don't know why it's not exact, but 1,080 is the damage. So does it make sense now? Now it all makes sense, right? Now check this out. I jumped over to Grenadiers. All right, now my Grenadiers are level 13 because I haven't really been using them as much, so they're not upgraded first now. And let's take a look at them. All right, so Grenadiers are 312 damage. That's their damage per second. Their rate of fire is 8 seconds, a weakness and a strength. So they bulk up their damage times 8. Now, does it make sense why everyone thinks Grenadiers hit so hard? No, they do not. If you do the math on 2.5 seconds multiplied by the archer's damage compared to 8 seconds multiplied by the Grenadier damage, the Grenadiers are far less effective than archers. Add to that the armor piercing deficiency in the Grenadiers and the lack of speed, And Grenadiers have basically become somewhat useless compared to archers, unless there's someone who has 0 fire resist and a ton of physical resist, and there's no meteor strike. All right, so let's do the calculation. 312 damage per second times 8-second rate of fire for them to gather that fire and actually finally throw it. That's 2,496, a much bigger number than the archers, but takes them over 3 times longer to pull the trigger. Over 3 times longer. So they should have 3 times damage, but they do not, which makes them weaker, right? So let's take a look at them actually doing their damage. I set up this battle. It was a little harder to do this particular battle. It wasn't perfect, but check it out. We're going to see exactly what we need because I took a whole unit and I went over to attack a Goliath on its own, and you're going to see 1,497. All right, what does that mean? It's not what happened, right? Well, times this by 0.6, 1,497. So Grenadiers do not have armor piercing. They're attacking a Goliath with 40% armor. So 40% of the damage is nullified, making the attack 1,497.6, and they took away. I guess the 0.6 went over. They subtracted 0.6 from this, and they subtracted 1 from the other one. I don't know why it's not exact on that archer attack, but this is pretty exact. 1,497 because their rate of fire is 8 seconds for the damage per second multiplied, and then they get calculated with the resistance from armor, with no other resistance on those Goliaths. Now, does it make sense? That's why my Titan, I'll show you my Titan here. That's why my Titan, Flamehide, though he shows a damage of 4,624, he does not hit for that when he hits Goliaths. Now, you'll notice this. I don't want to get too much in the nitty-gritty, but this is just the basic to understand. The DPS means if the animation for the attack is slow, it's going to be more DPS because it's taking longer for him to swing. It's taking longer for him to shoot. The longer it takes, the more the DPS racks up. But it's all based on the animation. If your attack takes forever because you never sent your unit to attack, it doesn't make the damage per second continue to accumulate. It's only based on the unit's rate of fire. So whatever Flamehide's rate of fire is, this isn't something that's spec'd out. But Flamehide has different attack patterns, right? So his particular attack pattern that's the best is when he has that nice long swing because he's taking 4,624 damage. He's multiplying it somewhere around 2 seconds or so. And then he's hitting with a critical attack is when you see that high hit. So if you take 4,600, you times it by 2 to 9,200 or so, and then you times that by 3, that's like 27,000 attack. And oftentimes he's hitting for like 22,000 or so. So there is the mystery of DPS on your screen, hopefully solved for you. If you want to get exact on these things, all you have to do is figure out what is the rate of fire, and you can get exactly what your damage is, because the DPS is the damage per second is what's showing, and the rate of fire is what will tell you what the actual attack occurs, you know, what actual attack damage happens. And it gets a little nitty gritty because with Flamehide, you've got fire resist that's going to subtract after the total calculation. You got critical, which is going to multiply his attack by 3 if he criticals, right? Which is why it says that 3 times, boom. And then also, this is the last piece that's a little bit more confusing. If he's attacking, from what I've seen, this is not something from R8. This is my own mentality from testing. If he's attacking like Goliath, a single unit with a lot of HP, and he hits for their HP, that's one thing. But if he's attacking a bunch of pikemen, you'll notice the damage it shows is different. And I think it has a lot to do with them displacing HP across a unit. They have so much HP, but not each individual unit has that HP. It's divided evenly across them. So as they get hit, I believe the game's trying to calculate per unit what's being lost. And that's why you'll see the HP bar go down, but you'll see units actually die and some are left behind. And with you know, different units, it actually affects their damage per second. So it's a little nitty gritty there, but in general, you can just basically go right down to this and say, okay, the rate of fire is this, the DPS is this, and this is what the calculation is. So hopefully that solves your questions on how does the DPS calculate. And you don't scratch your head when you're looking at your archers trying to figure out what in the world, how come their damage is saying 370 and they're hitting for 1,000, and why are the Grenadiers saying 312 and they're hitting for 2,000 or whatever the case may be. Well, now you know, right? Now you know. Longer rate of fire, more damage from the DPS. Boom. Simple as that. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Start the discussion, too. If you think there's something else that I've missed on this concept, I'm always open for discussion because I am not the the developer, so I don't have all the algorithms, of course. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time on Dawn of Titans with DBR.